There are words that weaken your spirit, and there are words that re-engineer your destiny. Every day, millions speak sentences that chain them to fear, doubt, and limitation. But a few, a rare few, speak phrases that act like keys, unlocking hidden doors within the mind. Today, I will give you 7 sentences capable of altering the entire direction of your life if you have the courage to repeat them daily. These sentences are more than affirmations. They are triggers that activate confidence, persistence, imagination, belief, and unshakable inner power. And I want you to stay with me until the end, because the 7th sentence is the one most people never use, and it's the one that makes ordinary lives rise into greatness. If you miss that, you may miss the very breakthrough your future self is begging for. So listen closely. Let these words sink deep. And allow me to show you how a few spoken sentences can rebuild the world inside you and therefore the world around you. Every thought you speak becomes a command to your subconscious mind. When you say, "I can't," you instruct your mind to retreat. When you say, "I will," you instruct your mind to build. Words are the architects of identity, and identity shapes destiny. The first step in making your life better every day is mastering the sentences you feed your mind. Because nothing changes in your life until something changes in your language. 2, sentence 1. I am in control of the direction of my life. 3, sentence 2. I choose thoughts that strengthen me, not weaken me. 4, sentence 3. I am capable of creating solutions for every challenge I face. 5, sentence 4. I refuse to let fear or doubt dictate my decisions. 6, sentence 5. I am becoming better, stronger, and wiser every single day. The words you speak each day quietly construct the framework of your future, shaping the boundaries of what you believe is possible and what you silently accept as impossible. Every sentence becomes a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious mind, and whether you are aware of it or not, those seeds take root and grow into the habits, decisions, and outcomes that define your life. When you repeatedly tell yourself that you are tired, unlucky, or overwhelmed, your mind accepts those statements as instructions and begins to guide your behavior in alignment with them. But when you begin speaking sentences that reinforce strength, possibility, and clarity, you give your mind a new direction, and that direction becomes the path you walk. Most people never realize that their language is not simply a reflection of their reality. It is the creator of their reality. They wait for life to improve before they speak positively, not understanding that life improves because they speak positively. Your mind listens to every word you say, especially the quiet ones, the ones spoken in frustration or self-judgment, the ones whispered in doubt, the ones repeated out of habit rather than intention. If your language is filled with limitation, your future will be built with the same bricks of limitation. If your language is filled with conviction, resilience, and belief, your future will rise from those same materials. The transformation begins with awareness. Listen to the sentences that escape your mouth throughout the day. Notice how often you claim you can't, don't know, or aren't ready. These sentences may seem harmless, but each one shapes the boundaries of your inner world, restricting your potential long before your circumstances ever do. And then notice how your body reacts when you speak words of power. Say, "I am capable," and feel your chest lift. Say, "I will find a way," and feel your mind sharpen. Say, "I am becoming stronger," and feel your spirit rise. Words carry instructions for the brain, emotional signals for the heart, and energetic commands for your behavior. When you choose your sentences consciously, you take control of the invisible forces that guide your life, your focus, your courage, your assumptions, your expectations, and your momentum. This is why people who speak with certainty achieve more. Their language reinforces belief, and belief fuels action. This is why people who speak with defeat achieve less. Their language reinforces doubt, and doubt weakens action. Your words build the walls you live within, or they break those walls down. They pull you forward, or they hold you in place. They shape what you attempt, what you avoid, and what you expect. And expectations are powerful. They quietly determine what you pursue and what you walk past, what you tolerate and what you rise above. When you master your words, you master your mind, and when you master your mind, you master your future. To say I am in control of the direction of my life is to reclaim the power that so many surrender without noticing. Most people move through their days reacting instead of creating, allowing circumstances, opinions, setbacks, and temporary emotions to steer their decisions. They drift because they forget that the mind has a steering wheel, and it responds to the words you speak to yourself. The moment you declare that you are in control, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for conditions to improve, and you begin improving the conditions. You stop blaming what is outside and start strengthening what is within. Control doesn't mean life will always obey your expectations, but it does mean that you guide your response, your focus, your discipline, and your direction. And direction is everything. A ship with a powerful engine but no compass will still drift aimlessly, but a ship with a clear direction will move forward even through storms. This sentence becomes your compass. It reminds you that your life is not shaped by what happens to you. It is shaped by how you interpret what happens to you and what you decide to do next. When you speak these words each day, you interrupt the mental habits that pull you backward. You cancel the belief that your past has the authority to dictate your future. You silence the inner voice that says you are too late, too tired, too unlucky, or too inexperienced. You replace it with a voice that understands one powerful truth. Your life bends in the direction of your decisions. And decisions are born from belief. When you believe you are in control, your decisions become stronger, clearer, more intentional. You begin to choose actions that align with your highest self rather than your momentary feelings. You begin to plan instead of hope, act instead of wish, build instead of wait. This sentence also awakens responsibility, and responsibility is not a burden, it is fuel. The moment you accept that you direct your life, you stop giving your energy away to excuses. You stop waiting for motivation and start generating it. You stop letting other people's expectations interfere with your inner calling. You stop replaying mistakes and start refining your next steps. Control is not loud, it is quiet and steady. It is the voice inside that says, no matter where I am right now, I still choose where I go next. And the more often you speak it, the more your subconscious mind begins to align your behavior with it. You begin noticing opportunities you once overlooked. You begin taking small actions that gradually accumulate into large transformations. You begin trusting your ability to navigate uncertainty. A person who believes they are in control becomes unstoppable not because the path is easy, but because their inner direction is unshakable. They wake up with purpose, they move with intention, and they lead their life instead of being pushed through it by circumstances. Speaking this sentence daily is a reminder that your potential expands the moment you decide to guide your own steps rather than wait for someone or something else to lead them. To say I choose thoughts that strengthen me, not weaken me, is to make a deliberate decision about the kind of world you build inside your own mind. Most people do not realize how many of their thoughts are inherited, repeated, conditioned, or absorbed unconsciously from their environment. They let their minds run without guidance, accepting every negative assumption, every fear-based prediction, every doubt, and every imagined limitation as if it carries unquestionable truth. But the moment you choose your thoughts consciously, you reclaim the greatest power any human being possesses, the power to direct the quality of your inner life. Every thought either expands you or shrinks you. It either energizes your spirit or drains it. It either prepares you for the next level of your life or locks you in the patterns of your past. When you speak this sentence, you draw a clear line between the thoughts that serve you and the thoughts that sabotage you. You remind yourself that thoughts are not commands, they are possibilities. You do not have to believe every thought that appears in your mind, especially the ones that make you feel small. Instead, you can observe them, challenge them, reject them, and replace them with thoughts aligned with strength, growth, and possibility. Choosing thoughts that strengthen you is not about pretending life is perfect or ignoring challenges. It is about refusing to allow exaggerated fears or self-created stories to control your emotions or decisions. It is about choosing thoughts that allow you to think clearly, act courageously, and move forward with intention. When you choose strengthening thoughts, you choose to see solutions instead of barriers. You choose to focus on what you can control rather than what you cannot. You choose resilience over resignation. You choose progress over paralysis. You choose a mindset that builds you instead of breaks you. And with repetition, your mind begins to obey this new standard. It becomes easier to shift from worry to strategy, from doubt to determination, from insecurity to self-belief. The subconscious mind adapts to the instructions you give it, and when you tell it daily that you choose thoughts that strengthen you, it begins filtering your inner dialogue automatically. You start catching negative thoughts faster, and you replace them before they have the power to influence your mood or actions. You begin to feel a new mental clarity, a new emotional stability, a new sense of inner command. Strengthening thoughts create strengthening behaviors. They help you take action when you feel afraid, stay disciplined when you feel tired, stay focused when you feel distracted, and stay confident when life tests you. Over time, the consistent choice of powerful thoughts reshapes the entire atmosphere of your mind. You begin to expect progress. You begin to assume capability. You begin to feel worthy of success. You begin to navigate life from a place of inner power rather than inner conflict. And the more you choose thoughts that strengthen you, the more your life begins to reflect the strength you cultivated within yourself. To say I am capable of creating solutions for every challenge I face is to step into the mindset of a builder rather than a victim, a creator rather than a passive observer of life. Most people crumble under pressure not because the challenge is too great, but because they underestimate their own ability to respond to it. They look at difficulties and say, I don't know what to do, without realizing that the very act of believing they can find a solution unlocks the mental mechanisms required to discover one. When you repeat this sentence, you awaken a deeper intelligence within yourself, a part of the mind that is designed to problem solve, innovate, adapt, and rise. Challenges are not walls meant to stop you. They are invitations for you to expand your capacity. And when you believe you can create solutions, you begin to see every difficulty differently. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, you become curious. Instead of feeling defeated, you become strategic. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin thinking logically, creatively, and intentionally. This shift doesn't just change how you feel, it changes what you see. Your mind begins searching for patterns, possibilities, angles, options, resources, and opportunities that were invisible to you when you were focused on the problem rather than the solution. A challenge that once felt impossible becomes manageable. A situation that once felt chaotic becomes navigable. A setback that once felt final becomes a turning point. And every time you create a solution, even a small one, you reinforce your own capability. You build evidence that you can trust yourself. You build confidence in your ability to handle hard things. You develop courage because you know you can figure things out. And courage becomes momentum. Momentum becomes resilience. Resilience becomes strength. Strength becomes identity. Eventually, you cease to fear challenges at all because you know that each one only reveals more of your own potential. Most people wait for the challenge to disappear so they can feel safe again, but the ones who succeed are the ones who learn to generate safety from within by trusting their own capacity to solve what is in front of them. This sentence conditions you to respond instead of retreat. It teaches your mind that every obstacle contains a hidden solution, and your job is to uncover it by thinking, trying, adjusting, learning, and refining your approach step by step. Even when you don't know the solution yet, believing that you can create one gives you the mental stability required to find it. You approach the situation with calmness instead of panic, with clarity instead of confusion, with persistence instead of surrender. And when a person maintains clarity and persistence long enough, solutions always appear. Challenges stop being threats and start being opportunities. Life stops feeling like something happening to you and starts feeling like something you are actively shaping with your own hands. And with every solution you create, you become a little wiser, a little stronger, and infinitely more prepared for the future you are building. To say I refuse to let fear or doubt dictate my decisions is to declare that your life will no longer be ruled by the weakest parts of your mind. Fear and doubt are natural emotions, but most people hand them the steering wheel and wonder why their lives never move in the direction of their dreams. Every major transformation, every breakthrough, every accomplishment begins with a moment when someone decides that fear may exist, but it will not be the force that chooses their actions. When you speak this sentence daily, you remind yourself that courage is not the absence of fear, it is the mastery of it. It is the awareness that while fear can speak, it does not have to be obeyed. Doubt can whisper, but it does not have to be believed. These emotions are signals, not commands. They point to areas where growth is needed, not barriers that cannot be crossed. Most people allow fear to shrink their world. They turn away from opportunities because they imagine failure. They avoid challenges because they anticipate discomfort. They silence their own potential because they assume they aren't ready yet. But when you refuse to let fear and doubt dictate your decisions, your world expands. You begin taking steps that once felt intimidating. You start saying yes where you used to say no. You start exploring possibilities that once felt out of reach. And with every courageous action, your confidence grows. Confidence is not something you wait for. It is something you earn by acting through fear, not waiting for it to disappear. Doubt loses its power the moment you stop treating it as truth and start treating it as a suggestion you do not have to accept. When you speak these words, you send a message to your subconscious mind. Your decisions will be shaped by your vision, your values, your goals, and your potential, not by your fears. This rewires your internal response to discomfort. Instead of retreating, you lean in. Instead of assuming you will fail, you assume you will learn. Instead of believing fear is a warning to stop, you begin seeing it as a sign that you are stepping into a bigger version of yourself. Over time, this becomes a pattern. You stop letting temporary emotions make permanent decisions. You start thinking long-term instead of reacting short-term. You stop abandoning your goals because something feels difficult in the moment. You start choosing actions aligned with who you want to become, not who you used to be. This sentence transforms you into a person who acts with intention, not hesitation. A person who recognizes that every dream requires walking through uncertainty. A person who understands that fear is often a sign you are on the right path, not the wrong one. A person who no longer waits until they feel fearless to move forward, but moves forward so consistently that fear eventually loses its voice. To say I am becoming better, stronger, and wiser every single day is to anchor your identity in growth rather than perfection, progress rather than pressure. Too many people believe transformation happens in dramatic leaps. But the truth is that the greatest changes in life happen quietly, gradually, in the small choices you make moment after moment. When you speak this sentence each day, you remind yourself that improvement is not an event but a lifestyle. You begin to view every experience, good or bad, as a lesson that moves you forward. Even when you fail, this sentence prevents you from seeing yourself as a failure. Even when you struggle, it prevents you from assuming you are stuck. It anchors your mind in the belief that as long as you are breathing, you are evolving. And once you believe you are evolving, you approach life differently. You stop comparing your progress to others because you know your growth is happening internally, often in ways that are not visible yet. You stop rushing the process because you trust that consistency compounds. You stop feeling discouraged by how far you still have to go because you recognize how far you've already come. This sentence opens your eyes to the subtle strengths you build each day, strengths you barely notice until you need them. The patience you practice during difficult conversations, the discipline you built through small daily commitments, the resilience you develop by not giving up, the wisdom you gain by reflecting instead of reacting. Each of these contributes to the person you are becoming, and this sentence helps you stay aware of that invisible momentum. When you repeat these words, you also train your subconscious mind to look for evidence of your growth rather than evidence of your shortcomings. Your brain begins to notice your improvements. It begins to reward effort instead of demanding perfection. It begins to work with you instead of judging you. This shift allows you to feel proud of your journey instead of frustrated by your pace. And pride in progress is powerful. It fuels motivation in a way criticism never can. You start becoming more patient with yourself. You start celebrating small wins. You start trusting your evolution even when the results are not immediate. Growth becomes something you expect, not something you hope for. You begin to see challenges as opportunities to sharpen your strength. You see setbacks as teachers that increase your wisdom. You see daily life as a training ground for the person you are becoming. And when this mindset becomes part of your identity, your behavior naturally rises to match it. You begin acting like someone who is improving. You begin speaking like someone who is improving. You begin making choices that align with a stronger, wiser version of yourself. Over time, the truth of this sentence becomes undeniable. You look back and see just how much you've transformed. and you realize it happened not in one dramatic moment, but in thousands of small decisions to keep growing, learning, and becoming more than you were yesterday, you now hold 7 sentences that have the power to shift the entire atmosphere of your mind and reshape the direction of your life. These sentences are not merely words, they are instruments of transformation. They are tools for self-mastery, for clarity, for courage, and for the daily renewal of your inner strength. Speak them with intention, speak them with belief. Speak them until they become the language of your identity and the rhythm of your actions. Because the world outside of you changes only when the world inside of you evolves first. Every day gives you a fresh opportunity to instruct your mind, to redirect your focus, to strengthen your character, and to rise a little higher than the day before. These sentences become your anchors in moments of doubt, your compass in moments of confusion, and your fire in moments when life tries to dim your spirit. And as you repeat them, your future begins to unfold in alignment with your new mindset, steadily, powerfully, and unmistakably. From this day forward, speak these 7 sentences as if your life depends on them, because your future does. Let them guide your mornings, shape your decisions, steady your emotions, and elevate your vision. When challenges come, speak them louder. When doubt appears, repeat them with even greater certainty. Let these words become the architecture of the life you are building. You are not who you were yesterday. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more unstoppable than you've ever imagined. And as long as you speak with intention, think with clarity, act with courage, and believe in your own power, there is nothing, absolutely nothing, that can stand between you and the life you are destined to create.